Welcome back to Talk of the Town. We are joined by Steve Tilton from Coastal Signature Homes. So glad to have you here today.
Good to be here.
You're a long-term Bluffton Rotarian, yeah? You just 27 years?
27 years in the club, yep.
Yeah, and always been a part of the community.
Yeah, I actually grew up here on Hilton Head.
Yeah, and so you stayed for the hurricane.
I did.
Tell us about it.
Well, I thought, my wife thought I was insane. She was actually in New York doing college tours. I just felt like I had a responsibility to my customers, and I think based on the information that I had, I thought that I needed to be here to be kind of a first responder for people that counted on me. And I think based on what I know now, I probably wouldn't do that again, but I do think it was important. Having been here all my life, I've been through some storms. I've never experienced anything quite like what I did that Saturday evening or that Friday evening, but it was an experience, and I'm sure that lessons were learned for me and others.
Oh, for everyone here, really.
Yeah.
I mean, but good to have someone who's a builder on hand when things aren't going well with the homes and surrounding areas. Yeah. How long have you been in the community? Well,
my family moved here to Hilton Head in the early 60s, in 1964. My dad came to work with Robert Graves. He was one of 4 builders here on the island back then. So I grew up on Dove Street before it was cool and before there were lights on Dove Street. And just am glad I had that experience to grow up here, and certainly have seen the island grow since then.
Yes, that's what I was just going to mention, that seeing it progress from that period of time, you have a really good eye for how to move forward in the wake of Hurricane Matthew. Tell us about that.
Well, I think anytime we have a storm, in just my experience around here, anytime we've had, right after Hugo, there was kind of introspection with the county and with the state and with the building codes. I think some of these big storms we had many years ago kind of forced us into what we have now with this international residential code. Back in those days, we were building under the Southern Building Code. And I think that it took Andrew and Hugo and some of these other storms really to kind of focus on design. I'm happy to say I think we have some of the strongest building codes around, and I think if just riding around the island over the last week, you know, we didn't have a lot of roofs blow off or windows blow out. We had trees blow into houses, and there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do to build for that.
Sure. And what's Coastal Signature Homes doing to help people move forward?
Well, what I'm doing and what my team is doing, we basically have kind of shut down our new construction, and our guys are going around taking care of not only our homeowners who are in need, but other less affluent people that need help. You know, you've heard stories, and in the Island Packet today, there was, you know, claims of excessive pricing with getting trees off of roofs and out of yards and that sort of thing. And maybe someone in Wexford and Long Cove could afford that, but some of the other people on the island certainly can't afford $4,000 or $5,000 to take a tree down. So my guys are responding to these needs, and we're not taking big trees off of roofs, but we're certainly taking roofs off of driveways and out of backyards, so people can get back to their lives.
Sure. And what do you see as sort of the trend, or what's coming for building in the Low Country?
Well, as I said, anytime you have a storm like this, you kind of get introspection about what we could have done. I think that they'll probably evaluate the current codes. We have to build to Dade County standards, which is 130 mile an hour wind. I think our structures that we have built since the International Residential Code was developed and was adopted fared very well. As I said, really, I think what the gated communities are probably going to look at are trees and tree damage and what that means. I mean, going back to what Hilton Head is all about, is leaving trees around, and what Bluffton's about, leaving trees. I think the architectural review boards and architectural review committees will be a little more diligent in maybe advising their homeowners about trees to leave and trees to take out.
Sure. I mean, one thinks aesthetics only, and now we've quite clearly seen that there might be some other issues there to take a look at. So Coastal Signature Homes, Steve Tilton, thank you so much for being with us today, and folks can give you a call and reach out to you. What's the best way to reach you?
You can reach us at our office at 843-757-8889.
Great. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you. Good to be here.